Hi everyone, welcome to Math 112 Online. This first video is just going to be kind of an overview of the class and all the grading breakdown and the different pieces of the grade. So we're going to start out with talking about just a couple myths about online courses. So sometimes students feel like, oh, it'll be so much easier than a face-to-face course, and honestly, it's really not. It ends up really being on you to make sure that you are getting the work done. You're not coming to a class twice a week, so you actually need to set aside that class time for yourself to get in, go through the learning assignments, which will emulate being in a classroom, and then getting those practice assignments done. So the biggest thing for online classes is you just really need to have that really strong management of your time and making sure that you do not wait until last minute to do assignments in here, because that will really end up hurting you in the long run. Some students feel like they can do all the work in one day and just over the weekend, and that's not the case either. Remember that we're learning probably about 15 to 20 hours worth of content each week. So that's a lot of content. You need to make sure, especially for your brain to be able to process things, that you're separating out all of the different assignments to doing a little bit every day. That way it's not too much, it's not overwhelming, your brain has a chance to process the content. So typically I recommend trying to spend about 1 to 2 hours a day in this class, and that will really help in the long run. And then the last thing is, a lot of the time students think, oh, I'm going to email my teacher and they're going to get back to me right away. And typically I'm pretty good with emailing back. I have Canvas on my phone as well as the email on my phone, but I do sleep. I do have a family. So if it's on the weekend or in the evening, you probably won't get a reply back from me until the next day. Okay, talking about the grade breakdown, because that's why most of us are here, right? So for grading, we have assignments. Those are both learning and practice assignments. I'll talk about that in a minute, and those are worth 18% of your grade. Actually, I'm missing one of the things on here, which is guided notes. So it's taking notes on the videos. So you're going to be watching videos in these learning assignments, and so part of you get graded just to take notes and then upload your notes. So there's guided notes worksheets that you'll be filling out as you're going through that. Quizzes are worth 10%. There are 2 exams and then a final. Each of those exams are worth 23%, and then the final is worth 24%. All right, so let's talk about the exams. So exams are going to look a little different in here because we're obviously not meeting in person, but we have to have proctored exams. So the way that I have found has made it so much simpler on you, the student, and much easier, is that you guys can decide where you want to take your exam. So you can take it in your room, you can take it in the library, you can take it, if you prefer to take it in the testing center, you can. But the way that exams are going to work, the default way, is that I will be doing Zoom proctored exams. So there's a Zoom link. You will log on to Zoom. There's a whole process for the check-in, which we'll go through that on the 3rd video in this assignment. So make sure that you really spend that time on there. So it's the Student Guide to Virtually Proctored Exams, really walks you through what to expect. So you'll come to Zoom, you'll take the test on Zoom with me proctoring it and watching what's going on your computer and in your desk space area. And then you'll upload your work page to Canvas, and then we're done. So if you prefer to not take it over Zoom, you're absolutely welcome to make an appointment with the University of Oregon Testing Center, and you will have an opportunity to let me know what your exam plan is. That's the last question in this assignment. The dates and times are already set for the whole term. You can find those in the course calendar and in the syllabus file. If those dates and times don't work for you, then you will have to take your test with the testing center in person. These are paper pencil exams, but we'll be using My Open Math, which is the online homework platform, for the questions. So that way you guys are seeing questions in the way that you've seen them for homework. From some of the questions will be no calculator. Others you'll be allowed to either use a basic 4-function calculator, so that just does multiply, divide, or a scientific calculator, but graphing calculators are not going to be allowed in this class. In calculus they are, though. All right, so for quizzes, so there's the quizzes we have every week. They're done on Tuesday nights and they're over the previous week's material. They are timed, but don't let that time be a factor. You guys have, I usually give you double the amount of time it should take for you to take the quiz. You get 2 chances on each quiz, so you can take it once. If you like your score, great, you're done. If you don't like your score, you can redo it. Granted, it's not identical questions, but very similar. And then what you'll do at the end is you're going to submit your written work. So as you're taking your quizzes, do your work so I can see all of your work to make sure A, you're not using those apps to do the problems for you, and B, to really give you that feedback. So quizzes are not like, oh, I love giving quizzes as a teacher, because I don't, but they're more of, for you as a student, they're checkpoints. Like, am I ready for questions over this for a test? Which ones do I know? Which ones do I not know? So they're really a good checkpoint for you to see how prepared you are. Again, make sure that you're emulating what you're going to see in a test environment. You're not going to be able to use apps. You're not going to be able to use your notes. So try to take these quizzes just like you would for an exam. And then just to talk about the assignments. So there's two different types of assignments we have in here. One is called a learning assignment and the other is called a practice assignment. In the learning assignments, those are supposed to emulate a face-to-face class. So it's my lecture videos that I did with my colleague, Wendy Fresh. So you're actually going to hear Wendy talking on them, but her and I created these together. So don't think I'm just randomly using someone else's. She just ended up doing the recordings for the 112, and I did the recordings for our calculus and our math 111 courses. So, but I did help put together all the slides and all the content in there. And so there's learning assignment. So that's where the videos are, and you'll be taking your notes on those video notes and turning those in for credit. And in the learning assignments, after each video, you're going to see there's a couple questions. And that's just to make sure that you're engaged in the material and kind of checkpoints for you if did I understand this or not. You get unlimited tries on those questions to get them right. On the practice assignments, you get 3 tries per problem. A practice assignment is just a fancy way of saying homework. So this is what traditionally would have been homework. In terms of turning things in late, if you turn everything on time, you get full credit. If for some reason something comes up, which I know in life that happens, you are able to still get in and get 85% credit on these learning and practice assignments as long as they're done within 2 days of the original due date. So anything you got done on time, you get 100% on. Anything that's done after that due date, you have a 15% deduction, which isn't that bad, but still try not to fall behind. Okay, and then last is our makeup policy and late work. So I think I just said this. Assignments can be completed within 2 days of the due date, and there's a 15% penalty. Same thing with quizzes. And then on exams, there are no extensions on exams. So if you end up seeing that the exam date and time doesn't work for you, please make sure that you let us know now, and you'll want to make sure that you've taken that exam on the same day the class takes it or before the class takes it. You can't take it after. I do have what I call like a get out of jail free kind of pass where with those exams, so there's 2 exams and a final. If you score higher on the final exam than you did on whatever your lowest score is on exam 1 or exam 2, I'll replace that lowest score with what you get on the final. So that way, if you just have a really bad night or for some reason, I don't know, you land in the hospital during one of the exams, you don't have to just like have a 0, which isn't going to make you pass the class, but that missed exam will get replaced with what you get on the final exam. I would not lean on that though, because final exam is always the hardest because it covers everything from the whole term. So what I always tell students is do your best on those first 2 exams, and then that way you have a ton of wiggle room when you get into finals week, when all of your other classes are going to be crazy. And I think that's it. So anyways, I'm here to help. Please know that I am literally an email click away. So if you have any questions, comments, you need help on anything, I am happy to help. So I am not into teaching because I want to be a jerk. I'm into teaching because I really want students to see that they can succeed in math, and you guys can all do a great job in here. So just let me know what you need and I got you. I'm looking forward to working with you all this term.